Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we dive into the ideas shaping tomorrow. Today, we are tackling one of Elon Musk's most mind-blowing predictions. In less than 20 years, maybe even 10 to 15, work could become entirely optional. That's right, no more 9 to 5 grind unless you want it. Elon dropped this bombshell in a recent podcast with Nikhil Kamath, and it's sparking debates everywhere. But what does this really mean? How could society reorganize? What about governments, money, and our daily lives? Let's break it down, explore possible scenarios, and imagine this revolutionary shift in human existence. If you're ready to peek into a post-work world, smash that like button, subscribe, and let's jump in. First off, let's clarify what Elon means by work optional. He isn't predicting a sudden disappearance of all jobs. Instead, his vision hinges on the exponential growth of artificial intelligence and robotics, which will become so advanced they can handle virtually all essential labor required for society to function. Imagine millions of Tesla's Optimus robots automating everything from manufacturing lines and agricultural harvesting to complex medical procedures and daily household chores. In this future, the fundamental link between work and survival is severe. Humans will no longer need to trade their time and effort for the basic necessities of life. Elon uses a simple but powerful analogy to illustrate this point. It is like growing your own vegetables. You could certainly do it as a hobby for personal satisfaction, but why would you need to when grocery stores, or in this futuristic case, automated AI systems, can provide an endless supply of food effortlessly? Work, in this context, transforms from a mandatory obligation into a voluntary activity, much like playing a sport, creating art, or engaging in a video game. It becomes something you do for fulfillment, passion, or entertainment, but not because you have to. This whole idea is built on the premise of technological abundance, where AI doesn't just assist humans, but surpasses our capabilities in every domain, eliminating the scarcity that has driven economies for millennia. Instead of a dystopian future of mass unemployment, Elon frames this as a liberation, a chance for humanity to pursue higher goals, creativity, and personal passions. So, what could this brave new world actually look like? Let's transport ourselves to the year 2040 and explore a few potential scenarios. Scenario 1 is the abundance economy. In this reality, the hyper-efficiency of AI-driven production has made goods and services so plentiful they are practically free. Your smart home is maintained by a team of bots. Gourmet meals are 3D printed to your exact nutritional and taste specifications on demand. And transportation is a seamless, autonomous network. In this world, people don't have traditional jobs. They work on personal projects that bring them joy and meaning. Someone might spend their days writing the next great novel. Another could be exploring the cosmos through a Neuralink-enhanced virtual reality interface, while others might dedicate their time to building stronger local communities. Elon himself has drawn parallels to science fiction, particularly E&M Bank's Culture series, where superintelligent AIs manage a post-scarcity utopian society without jobs or money, freeing biological beings to live lives of leisure and purpose. Scenario 2 could be a creative renaissance. With all basic needs met by technology, humanity's collective focus could shift from survival to innovation, art, and intellectual exploration. Education will become a lifelong pursuit, accessible to everyone for free through personalized AI tutors that adapt to individual learning styles. We might witness an unprecedented explosion in creativity and entrepreneurship, but with a twist. Startups will be launched not for profit, but for impact. Think of teams collaborating on ambitious projects like colonizing Mars, curing age-related diseases, or solving complex environmental challenges. However, this idyllic picture isn't without its challenges. What happens when the novelty wears off? Could widespread boredom become a new kind of societal crisis? Elon has warned about this, suggesting that a form of universal high income, a step beyond basic income, might be necessary to ensure everyone can not only survive, but truly thrive in a world with so much leisure time. But there's also a darker possibility. Which brings us to scenario 3, inequality amplified. What if the immense power and wealth generated by AI and robotics are not distributed equitably? If this revolutionary technology is controlled by a small elite, perhaps the very companies like Musk that are developing it, we could see the emergence of a new, starkly divided society. This could create a chasm between the tech-controlling gods and the rest of humanity, who are left dependent and powerless. Such a scenario could lead to social unrest, widespread protests, demand for heavy regulation, or even conflicts over the control and governance of AI. While Elon Musk acknowledges these risks, his public stance remains optimistic, betting that technological progress will ultimately create a tide that lifts all boats. Regardless of the outcome, these scenarios force us to confront a profound question. In a world without work, how will we find our purpose and define our identity? A world where work is optional would require a fundamental reorganization of society itself. Today, our lives are structured around our jobs. They dictate our daily schedules, influence our social status, and often form a core part of our personal identity. In a post-work era, this entire framework would collapse and need to be replaced. The new organizing principle might shift from professional networks to communities of interest. Cities could be radically redesigned to prioritize leisure, creativity, and human connection, featuring vast parks for hobbies, globally connected virtual reality hubs for collaborative projects, and AI-managed economies that ensure the equitable distribution of resources. The structure of family and personal relationships would likely evolve as well. With the pressures of a 9-to-5 job removed, people would have more time for parenting, strengthening bonds with loved ones, traveling the world, or focusing on personal growth and self-improvement. This could lead to a significant improvement in mental health as work-related stress diminishes. However, to prevent a crisis of meaning, new societal structures would be needed. Perhaps we would see the rise of purpose academies designed to help individuals discover and pursue their passions, or universal education programs focused on philosophy, art, and community engagement. Elon's vision is one of zero shortages, where society's primary focus shifts from the struggle for survival to the pursuit of exploration and fulfillment, much like the society depicted in Star Trek, where a united federation of humans pursues knowledge and discovery supported by an advanced technological backbone. But the specter of inequality remains a critical hurdle. To avoid chaos and division, unprecedented global cooperation would be essential, perhaps facilitated by AI-optimized resource allocation systems that can predict human needs and deliver solutions seamlessly across the globe. In this future, governments as we know them would be almost unrecognizable. Their core functions would shift dramatically. Instead of creating employment policies, managing unemployment benefits, and bailing out failing industries, governments would pivot to becoming regulators and overseers of artificial intelligence. Their new priorities will be ensuring the ethical development of AI, managing the global distribution of universal high income, and establishing a framework for human-AI coexistence. Elon has even suggested that in a state of true abundance, money itself might become irrelevant. In the short term, however, a plausible model would be for governments to levy heavy taxes on the hyper-productive AI companies and use that revenue to fund universal high income. This wouldn't be a mere universal basic income for subsistence. It would be a high income intended to provide a comfortable, even luxurious, standard of living for all. The very concept of national borders might begin to blur as global AI networks manage resources and logistics on a planetary scale. Governments could transform into facilitators of progress, ensuring the safe development of AI, a major concern for Elon and a key mission of his company, XAI. New and complex legal questions would emerge, leading to regulations on robot rights, the legal status of sentient AI, and data ownership. In the most optimistic scenarios, we might see the rise of decentralized governance systems powered by blockchain and AI, drastically reducing bureaucracy and increasing transparency. On the other hand, the pessimistic view warns that this powerful technology could enable new forms of authoritarian control. In either case, the balance of power would shift decisively away from traditional institutions like labor unions and toward new bodies like AI ethics boards and technology councils. And what about money and personal finance? Elon's most audacious claim is that in a true post-scarcity world, money could simply disappear. If everything you need and want is abundantly available at no cost, why would you need a budget? With essentials like housing, food, and energy provided by AI systems, the concept of paying bills would become a relic of the past. Personal finance might only exist for acquiring truly unique or rare items, like original human-created art, custom-designed experiences, or perhaps a ticket for a private trip to space. During the transitional phase, however, budgeting would evolve rather than vanish. The introduction of a universal high income would mean that people receive a steady stream of funds without having to work. Consequently, personal budgeting would shift from covering necessities to planning for experiences, hobbies, and passion projects. Investment strategies would also change, moving away from traditional financial markets and toward funding creative endeavors or social impact initiatives. At the macro level, governments will rely on AI-powered forecasting models to manage the national budget, allocating resources with unparalleled efficiency. The crippling national debts that currently arise from welfare and social security spending could become a thing of the past. Surpluses could instead be used to fund humanity's grandest ambitions, like building moon bases, reversing climate change, or exploring the deepest oceans. Elon ties this entire economic transformation back to the infinite productivity boost from robotics and AI, which he believes will make scarcity obsolete. Even so, it's likely that some form of currency would persist, at least for a while, to facilitate the exchange of unique human creations and services that retain a special value. This impending shift is not just an evolution. It's a revolution on a scale that will dwarf the Industrial Revolution. Elon Musk is not just predicting this future. He is actively building it through his portfolio of companies. Tesla's Optimus robots are the physical labor force. xAI's Grok represents the cognitive engine. SpaceX is developing the means for our multi-planetary expansion. And Neuralink is exploring the interface between the human brain and AI. He is preparing humanity for what he calls longevity escape velocity, a point where AI-driven medical advances allow us to extend human life indefinitely, which would amplify the need for a sustainable sense of purpose. To anticipate this revolution, we must start preparing now. Individuals should focus on developing skills that AI cannot easily replicate: creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, and AI ethics. Governments should begin experimenting with universal high-income pilot programs to understand their societal impact. And as a society, we need to start fostering communities and sources of identity that exist beyond the confines of our jobs. Elon urges us to be optimistic but also proactive. We cannot afford to passively wait for this future to arrive. We must actively shape it to ensure it is built ethically and for the benefit of all. In 20 years, we might look back on our current culture of hustle and laugh at its absurdity. Or if we mismanage this transition, we may look back with deep regret for not having prepared when we had the chance. What do you think, a utopia or chaos? Drop your scenarios in the comments. If this sparked ideas, like share and subscribe for more future-shaping breakdowns. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.